Hello, everybody. Welcome back here to CarolinaPreps.com TV. I am Chris Hughes. This is my good friend Jay Sonnhalter, and it's time to break down some 2017 high school football. The CarolinaPreps.com Dynamic Fitness and Strength Top 25 Power Rankings. And again, I've said this before we get started. This is not a poll. I did not have a group of sports writers or coaches.
This is all you. So we give you the credit. You get all the credit when you get it right.
But guess what? I get all the hate mail, and I got a Twitter address right there. Send me a message if you don't like it. Or better yet, we've got them fan forums on CarolinaPreps.com where you can talk with amongst the fans. Get on there and let us know.
There you go. And I'll be your bodyguard.
Hey, I might need it. All right. We do rank the top 25 teams, but let's talk about some of those bubble teams real quick that are right there on the fringe that I think are really, really good football teams. But, they, for whatever reason, I just decided to put them on the outside. and it's, these are some really good teams. And I want to start with East Lincoln. We know how good they've been. They've been in state championship games. East Lincoln, coaching change, but, they're right there in it. Brevard, Randleman. Coach Shane Handy's one of the best. I love Randleman and what they've got. East Davidson, they won 8 or 9 games last year. David Hines, I coached with him at Douglas Byrd High School, new coaching change. Ledford, a team coming down from the 3A, and Ledford's going to be really good. And again, I think that kind of shows you the difference of just how powerful the 2A can be. Granville Central, or South Granville, I should say, Roanoke Rapids. Here's one, Wilkes Central, and under Coach Turner, Wilkes Central up there in the Brushy Mountains, they're going to be really good. Anson County, a traditional 3A team, and then they were a 4A power back in the day. I don't know if you remember that, Jay, but Anson County moving down, they're going to be good. And East Montgomery, they were a stud team in the 1A, moving up to 2A, but I think they're really good. So those are some of the teams that were just on the fringes, did not make it, but don't worry.
Got our eye on them.
17 weeks long season, and I have coaches telling me all the time, rank me 26th. So there you go. You're all tied for 26th. So here we go. The CarolinaPreps.com Dynamic Fitness Top 25. Number 25, Maiden High School, the biggest little football town in America. They great program. I love what they're doing. Number 24, this is my favorite town outside of maybe where I live in North Carolina. I'd love to live there one day. They've got one of the best football environments in the state, Franklin High School. Number 23, Eastern Randolph. They've been on the upswing, new coach. Number 22, High Pointe Andrews, a team that has been normally up around the top. They've lost a little bit of talent, got some question marks. Number 21, Aiden Grifton, Coach Paul Cornwell over there in Pitt County.
Yeah.
Aiden Grifton, top team, really good-looking program. I expect big things out of them. Number 20, Bunn High School. New coach, David Weathersby, coming over from Bartlett Yancey, but I don't think that tradition is going to graduate. Coach David Howe, been there a long time, moved on. I don't see any drop-off, in my opinion. Any of those top 20 to 25 stand out?
Well, Bunn for me, and you said with that tradition, they're a team that's always in the thick of things, and even with the new coach coming in place, whenever you're a younger player and you see this upperclassman have success, see how they do things, it really, those lessons, and you watch those things and you want to be in that position. So yep. I know they have the motivation, the talent, but they have the system in place, and really growing up in that area, those players have seen it, and I know they want to have that same success.
And maybe the other team other than Bunn, and Coach Weathersby tells me that they're going to be really good. So he's not holding any punches back, and runs a very similar offense. So I don't think there'd be too much of a transition. High Pointe Andrews, they're a team we normally see up top. I think they probably could end up top, but right now we'll just kind of hold them down there and see what happens. Yeah. Kind of moving up the ladder, East Bladen High School, South Columbus, right down there in that same geographical area as well. Newton Conover coming in at 17th. Hertford County coming in at 16th. Mountain Heritage coming in at 15th. Any of those teams there stick out at you? Anybody that you really like?
Well, Newton Conover, they're a team that interests me with what they did last year moving into this season. And also South Columbus also.
Yes, I concur on those, although I do think Newton Conover is a team that probably could have been more along the top 10, but they still have some young players. While they're extremely talented, and I think that they're a year away from being.
Well,
really,
that's what's exciting about this is because there's question marks with all these teams and seeing which questions get answered.
I think Newton Conover is a year away from being state championship good, or at least top 10, top 5.
So their 2018
yeah,
poll, we're going
to write it down right now, guys. Mountain Heritage, though, Joey Robinson, man, they're exciting. They're going to come off the mountain and play Salisbury, a very talented team in week 3. That might be a fun game. Moving up the ladder, number 14, Wallace Rose Hill. We talked a lot about that team in the 1A.
Yeah.
Kind of like we talked Monroe, getting it done in 2A, moving to 3A, still a power. I don't think there's going to be any drop-off with Wallace.
No, and when these teams are powers, no matter what the classification is, they're going to adapt to the new level, and they're a team. It's not going to change them.
And I see Coach Kevin Motsinger at the coaches convention this week, and he had a medical scare. He had an injury, a burn injury, and was in the hospital. But it was so relieving, just to see him and doing very well. And I think that he, kind of being an orchestrator of building that New Hanover program up, I think he's going to do wonders at Wallace Rose Hill. Number 13, Lincolnton. Number 12, Mount Pleasant, and number 11, Clinton. Who jumps out at you there?
Clinton.
Yes.
Clinton, I know we're on the same page there. They can run the ball, and they have a system, coaching staff. They always have multiple running backs.
I've talked to Coach Bob Lewis for a long time. Really, I've talked to him off and on all spring, but I talked to him in person this week. While he knows they'll be good, they're Clinton. They're not going to not be good. They lost a ton, and I mean a ton of their nucleus from last year's team. He says, we're not going to be the same Clinton team, and they're really trying to gradually move into the season, but they're not going to have a lot of time to get ready. They play Cape Fear early on in the season. Talk about a heck of a matchup. So we'll keep an eye on Clinton. Mount Pleasant's a team I like. Mike Johns. They're another one of those grinded out kind of teams. They don't necessarily impress you with speed and athleticism, but boy, do they make up for it with grit and power and just getting after your tail. So we'll definitely look at them. Here we go, the top 10 2A power rankings. Number 10, Canton Pisgah High School. Coach Brett Chappell. Love Pisgah. I love Canton. You might remember last year they played Tuscola, one of the biggest rivalries in the state. I think the winner took home something like $19,000 from their half and half ticket. So
we need to be a part of that.
No question. Pisgah, Brett Chappell played in the NFL, one of the best running backs probably in the history of Western North Carolina. And boy, do they have it done. They invited me up there for a local radio station interview for the brackets, and just they do football right. So Pisgah is going to be one of those teams. Another Western North Carolina team in Hendersonville. They return a ton of kids. They're going to be really, really good. Number 8, Reedsville. They're the football capital of North Carolina. They just need to build a dome and house the team under it. And I spent some time with them during the summer football tour. Incredible program. Jimmy Teague is just a true gentleman, a pioneer of the sport, one of the best coaches we've ever seen, and they got a good team.
And they're almost every year top 10. It's because of the coaching staff.
Yes, sir.
Because of the foundation they have within that town.
Yes, sir. Number 7, High Brighton, a team that had moved down from the 3A rankings. Our friend Patrick Johnson broadcasted their game against South Pointe in the playoffs, and unfortunately they were on the way bad end of that one in the playoffs to end their season. But they had an incredible year last year, upwards in the top. They were in the top 5, 10 in the 3A rankings all season long. Moved down to the 2A. Coach Clay Lewis is one of the best there is. I love that guy to death, just in how he runs that program, strength training, the uniqueness of the wing tee, the offense, the option and stuff that they do. They're going to be really good. Here's a team, last year on the Blitz, we talked a lot about West Craven. Yeah. Boy, did they get it done. Beat Havelock last year. Great program. Michael Twitchell now in his second year. Great job. West Craven, number 6, down from the 3A. What do you think about them?
I just think they're another team that they have their eyes set on a state championship.
Yes.
And you just have a feeling that they're going to do whatever it takes to get to that level. Again, they've had so much success in the past. So they have the talent. The coaches have everything is aligning for them.
More speed with them. Moving up into the top 5 now. North Davidson down from the 4A, not the 3A, the 4A. They moved down with the opening of Oak Grove High School. Of course, Mark Holcomb, the longtime coach there, is now at Oak Grove High School. So we got some questions there. I don't think there's going to be any transition problems for them.
No.
North Davidson, they very well may win the championship. And in fact, North Davidson's a team that I thought might be better than Shelby. Time will tell, and I really hope we get a chance to see those two teams really face off later in November or December. I think that would be outstanding. Number 4, East Duplin, Coach Battle Holly. They were, I ain't going to say a young team, but just not a senior-heavy team last year. Went to the 4th round of the playoffs, lost that close game to Jacksonville Northside to go to the championship game. I think East Duplin is one of the teams in the East that you have to circle, and probably we're going to watch them in December or maybe late November.
Yeah, and they can use that as motivation. I think that's a huge factor with any of these teams is motivation from last year, what you did in the offseason, then using those either mistakes or those lessons from last year into effect this season. So I think that can be a big help for them moving into this season.
Number 3, I took a drive out there during a spring football tour, Elizabeth City. You remember our boy Freshwater from TV last year?
Yeah, I do.
Oh my gosh, Elizabeth City Northeastern. They've got 4A talent and exciting. They got some good young players. They got experienced players. And boy, do I like Coach Antonio Moore. He's one of the best there is. I've really grown to see this guy and took a trip. I drove 4 hours to go see this guy and some of his young talent. I can't wait to talk about them later on a different episode. Northeastern, number 3, they can win it all. Number 2, South Pointe High School won the 3A state championship, beat Rocky Mount, brings just about everybody back. I mean, talk about defensive line. They lost a couple key linebackers and a quarterback, but they got Jake Alexander at running back and just some really
He's
good
a workhorse.
My goodness. And yes, Coach Mickey Lineberger left, but Mickey told me 11 of his 12 coaches went to South Pointe and have grew up under him coaching that system. Adam Hodge takes over. I don't think there's going to be any growing pains at all. South Pointe's going to compete for the championship. They may beat Shelby in the regular season.
Yeah, and they have stability within that coaching staff, and with Coach Lineberger, moving on. The assistants have been there. They know the system, and that's so important to have that continuity.
Yes.
And for these players, they run the ball in that system. The offensive line does a great job sealing off gaps, being physical, and really that's the bread and butter of that running game.
And, Coach, speaking of beating Shelby, I was this close from putting South Pointe number 1. I think that the gap between Shelby and everybody else is razor thin now. Last year, I don't think nobody was going to touch Shelby, and they didn't. But this year, Shelby and Lance Ware talked to me earlier today, and he said, "You're going to put me number 2, aren't you?" Because he knows that gap isn't as big as it was. Borders is gone, but they do have Dax Hollifield, and they're going to be nasty on defense, and they were really good during the 7-on-7s. Shelby's your number 1 team, to no surprise. Can they win 4 or 5 in a row? I don't know. They've won about 7 in it. They just win all the time. But Shelby, they're going to be good. They do play South Pointe from Rock Hill later in the year. That's going to be a fun game to keep an eye out on, and I think we'll go down there and cover that one. But anything that jumps out at you, what do you think?
Well, I think the talent at the top of the 2A is extremely, I guess, at a high level, I would say.
And I'll say this. We've talked about how dominant the 3A teams are. I think that there's about 4 or 5 of these teams in the 2A that we could plug into that 3A top 25, as tough as it is. These are some really good teams.
Oh, yeah, these teams, they have experience, they have had success, and I think talking about Shelby, we saw how good they were last year. These other teams have raised their level of competition, talent, everything up to Shelby, but Shelby's still the standard with Hollifield, this being his senior year, what he does on defense, setting the tone really sets the tempo for the whole team.
And don't forget, he's got a younger brother who's now going to be playing defensive end for him, a freshman. So, and I know their dad, Aubrey Hollifield, really well, stud at Wake Forest, coached a long time at Shelby, Kannapolis, a few other schools. Great coach, great football family. That'll be fun to watch. Jay, I appreciate you joining us again here. Your knowledge of the game is just unquestioned. Anytime we can get you here on the Carolina Preps TV, it's awesome. Again, thanks for joining us. This is the 2A Top 25 Power Rankings, Carolina Preps Dynamic Fitness and Strength. Check us out. Talk about it on the website. We'll catch you next time.